I cannot believe that I'm saying phase autofocus and a Lumix camera in the exact same sentence. But here we are. We've got two new cameras, S5 Mark II, S5 Mark II X. My name's Todd White. I've been using the camera. Let's dive in. We've got two new cameras. We're going to start off with the new and improved features that we're going to find on both cameras, and then we're going to end up with the additional features that we're going to have on the S5 Mark II X. Now the first feature, we've already talked about that. That's going to be the phase autofocus. This is a huge step and a huge feature for Lumix. Now in the DFD focusing, we had about 315-ish autofocus points on the sensor. Now we have 779 autofocus points on a brand new sensor which supports the phase autofocus. This new sensor is 24.2 megapixels and supports 14 plus stops of dynamic range. That 24.2 megapixels really is that sweet spot for a hybrid shooter, and that's exactly what these cameras are really geared towards. The X obviously will be geared a little more towards videography, but still they fall within that hybrid shooter range. Along with that brand new sensor, we also have a brand new processing engine. It's got the L2 technology, and basically what that does is it gives us about twice as fast on the signal processing for the imagery with this camera. Next feature, Active IS. Now we already know that Lumix has some of the best image stabilization with the Dual IS2 in the industry, and they're known for their stabilization, and we've just added another layer of that with Active IS. Now Active IS is basically sensing the camera movements and making further adjustments as need be. The main area for Active IS that we're going to notice is going to be side-to-side movements or like walking movements. So if you're doing like a walk and vlog, kind of a walk and talk scenario, that's where you're going to notice the biggest improvements with the new Active IS feature that we have on this camera. Next up, we're going to get unlimited recording 422 10-bit 60 frames per second in Cinema 4K and in 4K. Also, we get 6K 420 10-bit at 30 and 24 frames per second. This also allows for that open gate feature, which we saw in the GH6, so we can drop on our frame markers and we can shoot in a 3:2 aspect ratio. We can shoot one clip and we're able to get a 9:16 cut, a 16:9 cut, a 1:1, varying different sizes that we need for social media. Another change on the camera, full-size HDMI. That's been something that people have been talking about. I've seen this come up in the forums and in the Facebook groups. Problem solved, full-size HDMI port. Also, the EVF has been improved. That's been something else that people have been talking about. We've got a 3.68 million dot EVF at 0.78 magnification. Also, if you're a fan of the S&Q mode or the slow and quick mode, we're going to be able to get 420 10-bit clips out of that up to 60 frames per second instead of 8-bit. Next up, we're going to get 30 frames per second in raw bursts when we're using the electronic shutter in both autofocus single and autofocus continuous, and then those numbers change to 9 and 7 for single and continuous when we're using the mechanical shutter. And like we saw in the GH6, we're going to be able to get 4 channels of audio with these cameras when we use the XLR1 adapter. And once again, that XLR1 adapter allows for 2 XLR inputs on the adapter itself. We can use the 3.5 on the camera for our 3rd channel, and then our 4th channel is going to be the on-camera microphone, which we can use to scratch audio. Next up is going to be a really unique feature for cameras of this type, and that's going to be the real-time LUT capability. Now let's talk about this just for a quick second. We already have the ability to put a LUT in for like a monitoring LUT. So we can take and shoot in Vlog, but we can push a Rec 709 color corrected version of our footage out to like a client monitor, the monitor up on top of the camera. But a real-time LUT allows us to actually upload a LUT into the camera, and we can bake that LUT into the footage or the photos that we're capturing. So for example, I use the Leeming LUTs whenever I'm doing my conversion from Vlog, and instead of having to do that step in post-production, I can now upload that Leeming LUT to the camera, set it for my real-time LUT, and then I can record as that being my picture profile, and that is baked into my footage, and I've just saved myself that step in post-production. So those are some of the baseline new and improved features that we have on both the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark II X. Now there are some other features as well, but those are like the ones, in my opinion, that are the heavy hitters and the notable ones to bring up. Here are the additional features that we're going to get with the X version of this camera. First up, raw video output to the Atomos Ninja Plus recorder. Now that is going to be available as a firmware update for the S5 Mark II as well, but that's going to come ready to go in the X version. Also, we're going to get the all intra codecs. We're going to get ProRes. We're going to get USB to SSD recording. We're also going to get Live View Composite in the X. That'll also be available as part of that firmware update to the S5 Mark II. And then the last big thing that we're going to get is going to be the live streaming, wired and wireless, just like we saw with the GH5 Mark II. Now I've seen the S5 Mark II X camera, but I've not had a chance to actually go out and test it and to use it. So stay tuned for a future review on that camera when I have a chance to put my hands on it and create some content with it. Now let's move on to the exterior features that we'll see on these cameras. There's not a lot, but there are definitely some that are new and notable. First of all, we're gonna see the camera just being a little bit taller on the top, and that's because we've dropped in a cooling fan at the top of the camera. You're gonna see some little cooling vents along the side at the top where you'll find the Lumix logo. Next up is gonna be dual SD card slots. The main thing here is that both of them are gonna be UHS 2. On the back side of the camera, we're gonna have an 8-way joystick instead of our 4-way joystick that we're used to seeing. Next up, a few ergonomic changes with the camera. The shutter button on the front is just at a little bit of a slight angle, makes it a little bit easier to get to. And then also the grip for the front and the back are just a little bit more pronounced. They're not deeper or anything, just a little bit more pronounced in the feel. I can definitely for myself tell the difference when I was gripping the camera. Feels more solid in the hand. Another change is the eye sensor is moved to the top of the eye cup on the back as opposed to being at the bottom. Hopefully this will keep that from being accidentally triggered as often. Also, you're going to be able to use the same battery, the BLK22, that you have in the current S5 in this camera and the X model as well, so you can use the batteries interchangeably. And speaking of power, these cameras are also going to be USB power delivery and charging simultaneously. And the last thing I'll mention for the exterior of the camera is going to be something for the X model, and that is going to be, it is the first all black design for a Lumix camera. So all the logo, all the writing on the camera, it's all going to be black. That includes the dials as well. So on the top part of the dials, like your P, A, and S and M, all of those are going to be etched into the dials, and so those are going to be black as well. It looks really, really cool. So that's a lot of new features, a lot of new things, a lot of improvements on some features that we're seeing in both of these cameras. Super exciting, especially the change up to the phase autofocusing system. If you're getting value from this, please hit the like button below. I'd love to hear your comments, your questions, your feedback. What's your favorite feature? Speaking of features, I've got a few more features to run through with you. These are going to be mainly geared more towards the videographer, but let's jump right into some of these. We're going to have dual native ISO on this camera just like we had before in the past, and I'm going to drop those on the screen here, what the dual native ISOs are for each of the different color profiles. Also, we saw previously that we were able to use shutter angle as opposed to using the shutter speed when we're making adjustments in video, but now we can also choose gain versus ISO. That's going to be a setting that's going to be in your menu. Also, we have the shear overlay. Now, the shear overlay feature is something that we've had before in photography, but we've not had this in video until now. So what this really allows us to do is, let's say that you would like to line up your next shot with the last frame of your previous shot or your previous clip. Well, now you can do that. You can use the last frame from your previous shot and overlay that on the screen, line up your next shot, and continue going. Another cool feature for videographers that I want to mention, and we've had this for a while, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and that's going to be the ability to hot swap cards while you're recording. So if you're recording an event that's lasting a while and you run the risk of filling up more than 2 cards, then you're able to actually swap out card slot number 1 after it is full and you're recording to card slot number 2. So you're recording to card slot number 1, fills up, it moves over, recording to card slot number 2. You can take out card 1 and put a new card in and allow that to swap back up to card number 1 if your event is going for a really long time. The only thing here, the key thing, is make sure all your cards are already formatted before you put them in so they're ready to go. As I already mentioned, there's a lot of cool features here with the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark II X. Definitely going to be making more videos about this camera and the features that it has. Please subscribe below if you'd like to see those videos. Love to have you as a part of the community. Let's hop over to the price. This may surprise some of you. I know that it surprised me, but here we go. The S5 Mark II body only price is going to be $19.99, and the S5 Mark II X body price is going to be $21.99. Now, there will also be 3 kits that are going to be available with this setup. I do not have the pricing on those particular kits, but here are the kits and what they have. Number 1, the first kit is called the W kit. That's going to be the body plus the 20-60 lens and the 51.8. There's going to be a K kit, and that kit is going to have the body plus the 20-60 lens. And then the C kit is going to have the body plus the 51.8 lens. Again, I cannot believe I'm saying phase autofocus and Lumix cameras in the exact same sentence. And as you've seen from the footage that I've shared with you, it looks wonderful and the autofocus system is working fantastic. Love to hear your comments, questions. Drop those all down below. I will read and respond to every single one of them. And if you want to find out some other lenses that you can get to go with the camera besides what's available in the kit, I'm going to drop a few of those videos on the screen now.